Glendale is more than a city unto itself. Within its borders are foothills communities with their own identities. Montrose, Verdugo City, La Crescenta. We identify with our city and our communities, but more often with our neighborhoods, places where we are at home, among family and friends, where dreams come true. Many of Glendale's present-day neighborhoods developed during the city's unprecedented population growth and real estate boom of the 1920s. In those days, thousands of people fled icy winters of the Midwest and East and headed for Southern California, where snow rarely falls, except in the mountains. They came in search of year-round sunshine, clean air, good jobs, and prime real estate at affordable prices. They learned of a place called Glendale, just a half-hour trolley ride from bustling downtown Los Angeles. The Chamber of Commerce was marketing Glendale as the fastest-growing city in the United States. Advertising for new subdivisions sometimes was a bit exaggerated. Verdugo Woodlands, locate amid the Switzerlandic charm. Bellhurst Park, every level lot is beautiful. It's not surprising that buyers responded in record numbers. For many families, starting a new life in the shadows of nearby foothills, among the oak trees and groves of citrus and avocados, would become a dream come true in Glendale. Until the start of the 1920s, real estate trade in Glendale was not yet organized. Monitoring ethical standards of practice was fragmented. Some claiming to be licensed real estate agents were frauds. Buyers had to be on their guard. And written into the deeds of some properties, not all buyers were welcome, restrictions that years later would be invalidated by state and federal courts. During these historic and frenzied times, the Glendale Association of Realtors was founded. For more than a century, the association has served as the professional trade organization representing realtors and affiliate members in the greater Glendale area. The association sets highest standards of ethics and business practices. From the beginning, the association's mission has been and continues to be working on behalf of its members. Rick Bagnati is Association President, 2021.
Glendale Association of Realtors serves over 1,600 members, and it provides a variety of tools and educational opportunities for its members, from the MLS, contracts, RPR, and Cloud CMA, and other resources. Glendale Association also has got different committees that are focused on different issues that relates to fair housing and also home ownership and the home ownership rights. One of the committees of Glendale Association of Realtors is Cultural Diversity Committee. The purpose of Cultural Diversity Committee is to bring awareness and education to our agents about the different cultures and how to engage with different cultures and different customs in our community, and not only about their customers from different ethnic background, but also agents that are from different ethnic background.
The association also is the reliable source of real estate information for the community and support for agents in the city. Chief Executive David Kissinger.
Our association in Glendale is an institution for real estate matters in our area, the area that we serve. And so what does that mean? If someone has a question or concern about real estate, if someone wants to know what's happening in the economy as it ties to housing, if someone wants to know what's going on in housing, if someone wants to buy a house or sell a house, where do they go? I want to encourage folks to come to our association as that leading institution. And if we don't know the answer, we can refer it to someone who does, and we all work together to find the answer.
While realtors are helping their clients through the process of buying or selling a home, the association is there to provide whatever services members need to ensure their success.
We serve them by providing them with the tools they need, with the training, the advocacy, the support, in some cases the legal support, the technology tools, system called the multiple listing service, which is a very important technology tool that realtors can use in order to help find their clients the best home that they can get and that they're qualified for.
Back in the 1920s, the ideals of institution and service likely were on the minds of those who led the association's formative years. At a business meeting of lawyers at the historic Casa Verdugo on North Brand, Realtor Charles B. Guthrie stated his case. Glendale needed a separate professional organization of real estate brokers. Within 2 months, on September 10, 1920, Glendale's first board of realtors was formed. Guthrie was elected president through 1921. 19 realtors and 12 realtor associates were charter members. The initiation fee was $5, and the annual membership dues cost $6. Advocating for legislation supporting real property rights and ethical business practices was among the board's first order of business. It was not unlike the process the association follows today.
It is important for the association to have relationships with our government representatives because they're going to be the ones that are making the decisions that are going to affect the communities and that are going to affect real estate. And therefore, we have to be there constantly. We have to make sure that they understand that we are not only realtors, but we are also their constituents, and that we're working for the benefit of the community. We talk about real estate, we talk about property rights, basically anything that is going to make a difference in our neighborhoods, to our neighbors, to our community, to the state in general, to our country in terms of our keeping housing at the forefront.
At the beginning of the 1920s, Glendale's real estate market was booming, and the new board was equally busy. They opened an information bureau at the First National Bank, at the center of town beside the trolley line. The board extended its reach to the foothills, to those representing properties in Montrose, La Crescenta, and into La Cañada. They secured an office on the 6th floor of Glendale's first high-rise, the new Security Trust and Savings Bank at Brand and Broadway. Realtors were getting involved in the community. The board led the support of a bond issue to install Glendale's first intra-city sewer system. Voters passed the bond by a 10-to-1 margin. Their focus also was on real estate education. The 1926 class had 80 participants, one of the largest of any realty board in California, and possibly including upcoming board presidents. In 1927, the board dedicated its own office building on South Kenwood Street in a grand opening event attended by over 400 guests. The Roaring Twenties was an era that people thought would never end, but for much of the real estate market, October 1929 was a sober introduction to the Depression years that followed. Over the next few decades, the association stayed the course and true to its mission, serving its membership and community in the best way possible. Glendale's real estate landscape experienced greater population growth in the late 1930s, and again in the 1950s with the city's annexation of sizable county territory in the foothills. The 1960s were noted by the association's first female president, Genevieve Sultanfuss, followed by a growing number of women serving on committees and in leadership positions. Jerry Cragnotti joined the association in the early 1970s, when deals were made at the kitchen table on a napkin and contracts were signed on a single sheet of paper. She remembers what high tech was like for agents in those days.
Well, technology back then, the first thing in technology that helped us, really innovative, was a pager. We all carried a pager, and we got paged with a phone number, and we had to, of course, then hustle to find a phone to phone somebody. We had no idea what this was, usually. It didn't have their name or anything. And so we had these pagers, and that was really oh my God, we were so freed up. It was unbelievable to have a pager, to know that you got a call and didn't have to keep calling in and all that kind of thing. And then the really highlight of the pager world is the front desk got a little typewriter about yay big, and they could type a very short message into your pager that you could see who it was from or what was calling. Now, we couldn't type back anything, but we knew a little bit more about what was going on, who needed us, and so on. So that was very high tech. And of course, like I said, there was no cell phones, but I was probably one of the first people to get a cell phone. Now, in those days, they were not cheap. So the salesperson came to my house and we talked. Anyway, I bought the cell phone. It was probably this big. I thought it was such a deal. It was $1,400. I carried it in a backpack, and I could go out to lunch with somebody and stay a couple hours because I had a phone and I had the pager and I was in touch. Suddenly we were in touch. So that went on for quite a while. Not many people could afford the $1,400 phone. I probably, who knows if I could, but I wanted the freedom. You know, we had a bunch of kids, we had a busy family, and so that worked out. That was high tech, man. That was high tech. Then enter the fax machine. Well, then things really changed. You know, the thermal paper that spread all over the floor as it came through, you know, all of that. And that was great. You leave it in your car and the paper all turned black if it was a hot day. So you live and learn. So that was the technology back then.
Realtors are often challenged by clients to find that one incredible property, a home like no other. This search took time and tenacity. But Carmen Aram totally came through for her clients.
One of my dear friends and clients was looking for a house in Glendale that was a historical house in a nice area, and we kept looking and looking. We just couldn't find something that would really fit their needs and requirements and would really be appealing to them. We just happened to stumble on this one property in Glendale that my client, who is a physician of Indian descent, and he's a very busy man, but we managed to bring him over to take a look at the property. Once he stood on the doorstep and looked to the view of Glendale, he said, "I feel like I'm in Bangalore. I want this house." So I moved heaven and earth to get that house for them, and to this day, I always go over. They absolutely love it, and they just want to bring all their family close to that house so that they can have their own compound. They live in their little world. This house is a historical house. It's an absolute beauty. So I was very pleased that was made possible for them.
The association has an impressive history of raising funds and volunteering time supporting local charitable organizations. Another example of members joining together to give back to their community.
Glendale Association of Realtors is vested heavily in our community, and we support different charities, from Glendale Education Foundation to Veterans Village. Salvation Army is another charity organization that we support through an annual event called Can3. We collect different items from our members, and then we auction those items, and the proceeds go to Salvation Army. Another charity organization that we support is Star Kids by Glendale Police Department. We meet the kids on Tuesdays, we feed them, and then we sit and talk to them. And we talk about our business, we let them ask questions, and it is interesting the questions that come up. Some of them are really focused on business, and some of them are just about what kind of a cars we drive and how much money we make.
With the leadership of President Stephen Small, the association made a generous donation during the COVID-19 lockdown in 2020, This act of kindness and compassion earned a mayor's commendation from the city of Glendale.
Another organization that we supported during the pandemic was Glendale Post-Acute Center. During the hard shutdown, they had over 100 patients who couldn't communicate with their loved ones or see their loved ones. And they had only one iPad to share to see the pictures and to see the faces of their loved ones. Glendale Association of Realtors donated 50 iPads. When it was brought up to our board of directors by our past president, Stephen Small, I don't think there was one director that was not touched by what we were going to do, especially for those of us that have elderly parents who the only way to communicate was through those devices.
If the topic on the City Council's agenda has anything to do with real estate, the association is always at the ready, providing facts, informed opinions, and, as needed, advocating for a wide circle of constituents. Such was the complex issue of setting a limit to annual rent increases in the city. Association leadership worked diligently with city leaders and on behalf of landlords and tenants to achieve an acceptable outcome for all parties, and it's a working model still in place today. Anniversaries aren't just for celebrating the past. They're for moving ahead with a vision and dreams for the future.
One of my other goals is to engage the residents of Glendale and develop a deeper relationship with the community. I know I've said this in the past and it almost sounds like a cliche, but I want the community to get to know us better. I don't want them to think of us as being just a building at 124 South Isabel, that we are much more than that. I would like for them to know that not only we are serving Glendale, but we also work in Glendale. We are Glendale. Our families live here. We shop here. We go to church in Glendale. Our kids go to school in Glendale. So whatever happens to Glendale matters to us a great deal. And we are all here to make Glendale a better place for all of us. Our message to the community is that we are your advocates, and I believe we have proved this time and time again. We are here to support your property rights. We are your true advocates.
For Chris Cragnotti and his mother Jerry, their enthusiasm for the Glendale Association of Realtors spans generations.
Well, first, it started with my mom. She was very involved. When I got started in 2006, she was part of the LGL committee that she mentioned. And I saw that being involved was important because I think a lot of people maybe don't think too much about the association because they go about their everyday business and they don't really think about the association. But what people really need to realize, especially realtors actually, is that we're an all-volunteer organization. We have a CEO, David, who does a great job, and we have wonderful staff to support us. But at the end of the day, it's a volunteer organization, and we need our members to be involved because we are the ones that shape our voice. We're the ones that set policy for the association. So it's very important that people get involved. And I think once I got involved, it was easy to stay involved for a long time. But what's also important in an association is sort of a rotation of people. It's important that everybody be given an opportunity, even if they're forced into doing it because someone has left an office and they realize there's an opening that needs to be filled. I think it's really important that people get involved in the association and stay involved for a few years, make a mark, don't just pop in for a year and take off, maybe stay for a few years, maybe try a few different things, because it really is, without us, it isn't anything, and it could very easily go away if we don't remain involved and keep our voice out there.